Tallulah tried so hard to be gentle, but when someone is that enormous, even the smallest mistake becomes a disaster. She tiptoed through the ranch yard, each cautious step still sending tremors through the ground. Colt attempted to act calm, though his hands shook every time she leaned close. She wanted to help. She really did. When she saw a tiny butterfly flutter past, she gasped with delight and spun around to follow it. Her heel went straight through the side of Colt's barn. Boards snapped like matchsticks, hay exploded into the air, and the horses panicked. Tallulah froze in horror, hands covering her mouth as if that could hide the damage. I'm so sorry," she cried, her giant voice rattling windows. Colt tried to say it was fine, though his heart was pounding so hard he wondered if she heard it. Later, she cupped water from the trough to drink, forgetting how small it was. One sip, empty. She winced again. Everything she touched seemed too delicate for her. But as Colt shared dinner with her, his on the porch, hers sitting cross-legged in the field, he spotted the loneliness hiding in her clumsy apologies. She wasn't a problem. She was just someone who needed a place in the world, and maybe, someone like him. Colt had barely finished repairing the fence when the familiar shadow fell over him again, larger and closer than before. He looked up, heart pounding, to see Tallulah peering down with her enormous eyes, full of concern. "Colt," she said gently, her voice like rolling thunder softened by warmth, "you look exhausted. Let me help you rest." Before he could protest, she lowered her massive head, resting it right on his lap. The sheer weight pressed down, and Colt froze, eyes wide. Please, don't do that," he stammered, cheeks burning hotter than the afternoon sun. But Tallulah simply sighed, closing her eyes, clearly relieved to finally feel safe enough to rest. Colt's hands hovered awkwardly in the air, unsure where to go without offending her, yet he couldn't bring himself to move her. He felt the gentle rise and fall of her breathing, the warmth of her enormous presence pressing against him. Part of him wanted to flee, but another part, deeper, quieter, felt comforted in a way he had never known. For a moment, all the ranch, all the fields, even the noise of the wind seemed to fade. Colt realized he didn't just want her to move, he wanted her there, exactly like this, for as long as she needed. News of the giant widow spread faster than Colt could have imagined. Neighbors and townsfolk gathered at the edge of his ranch, pointing, shouting, and brandishing tools and rifles as if to confront a monster. Colt's heart raced, but he stepped forward, arms raised in a gesture of peace. "She's not dangerous," he called, voice trembling. "She's my friend." The crowd hesitated, unsure whether to believe the shy, stammering rancher or the stories they had heard. Tallulah crouched behind a mountain of hay, her enormous eyes wide with fear, ashamed that her presence had caused so much panic. Just then, a stampede erupted from the north pasture, the cattle running wildly in all directions. Chaos reigned as people scrambled to protect themselves. Without thinking, Tallulah sprang into action. Her long arms scooped up the fleeing animals, guiding them safely into the corral with gentle precision, while shielding Colt from the frenzied hoofs. Dust and hay swirled around her, but she remained calm and steady, a giant guardian among chaos. When the dust settled, the neighbors stood silent, jaws dropped. The woman they had feared and gossiped about had saved their livestock, their ranches, and Colt himself. Colt's chest swelled with pride as he realized the truth. Tallulah wasn't a threat. She was exactly the friend he had promised her she could be. Colt and Tallulah worked side by side, each in their own way shaping the ranch into something stronger than either could have done alone. Colt measured, hammered, and carved, while Tallulah lifted beams that would have crushed any normal man and placed them with delicate precision. Together, they built a barn tall enough for her to walk inside without stooping, doors wide enough for her to pass through like a doorway in a storybook. She dug irrigation channels with a sweep of her long arms, redirecting the river to water fields that had once been dry and stubborn. Colt watched her work, admiration and something warmer swelling in his chest. Over time, he found his own confidence growing. He spoke louder, laughed more, and even teased her when she accidentally flattened a scarecrow in one swooping motion. Tallulah, in turn, learned she didn't have to hide or shrink herself to fit into the world. She could be big, bold, and still cherished. One evening, as the sun painted the sky in brilliant oranges and pinks, Tallulah rested her massive head near Colt's shoulder again. This time he smiled without hesitation, gently stroking her hair, and whispered, "You can stay as long as you like." And in that quiet, golden moment, the shy rancher and the giant widow both realized they had found a home, not just in the ranch, but in each other. Two adults are seated closely in a dimly lit, rustic wooden interior. The location appears to be a log cabin or a room with wooden paneling on the walls, giving it a historical or rural setting. The lighting is soft and subdued, possibly natural light coming from a window visible in the background, filtering through the dark wood. On the left, a man is seated in a wooden chair, looking slightly off camera with a serious or thoughtful expression. He appears to be in his 30s or 40s, with short, dark brown hair and a clean-shaven face, possibly with light stubble. He has fair or light-toned skin. He is wearing a dark brown or tweed jacket over a light brown or tan-collared shirt. He has a blanket or piece of light-colored fabric draped over his lap, which is also being touched by the woman beside him. His right hand rests on his lap under the fabric. On the right, a woman is kneeling or sitting very close to the man, leaning toward him. She has a very muscular build, with pronounced biceps and shoulder muscles clearly visible. She appears to be in her 30s or 40s. She has long, straight, dark hair, possibly black, which falls over her shoulders. Her complexion is medium to olive-toned. She is wearing a light brown or tan, button-up dress or shirt dress with a collar, cinched at the waist with a darker belt. She looks downward with a somber or intense expression. Her left hand is placed gently on the man's leg, resting on the fabric covering him. The background shows dark wooden walls made of horizontal planks. To the right, there is a tall, rectangular window with multiple panes, suggesting an older style of architecture. The light entering through the window highlights some dust or ambient air, contributing to the moody atmosphere. The overall scene suggests a dramatic, intimate, or emotional moment set in an old-fashioned, wooden environment.